to have the ambassador of Egypt to Namibia, His Excellency Wael Lotfy Batea. He joins us to reflect on Dr. Sam Nujoma's enduring legacy and the ongoing partnership between Egypt and Namibia. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Nina. Thank you for having me. Allow me to seize this opportunity to convey the condolences of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, President of Egypt, to His Excellency Dr. Nujoma, President of Namibia, and of course to the family of the founding President Dr. Sam Nujoma, as well as to all of Namibia, from the hearts of 100 million Egyptians. We share your pain, we share the legacy of a great man, and those are the kind of relations we hope it lasts between our two countries.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Dr. Sam Nujoma is often hailed and very fondly hailed as the father of the nation. How do you perceive his contributions to Namibia's independence and nation building to start with?
His Excellency Dr. Sam Nujoma was no stranger to us in Egypt, because the first SWAPO office out of Namibia, it was in Cairo back in the early 60s. And those were great moments, great memories. And His Excellency clicked with our President Gamal Abdel Nasser at that time during the 1961 Third People Conference. And there was a reason behind this conference in shaping the mentality of the young leaders of that time, who are now our founding fathers of our nations. What happened is that Egypt was the first African country to gain independence in 1952, and it was followed by Ghana in 1957, and then it was followed by DRC in 1960. But it became so obvious that liberation is not the end of the struggle. It is the beginning of a more serious struggle, because whether you are fighting colonialism or new colonialism, it is the same message. Countries who got independence, all of a sudden they have to create their own ministries, institutions, and it's a long way forward. And that's why, because we gained our independence early, we were very keen to assist our sister countries. 1961 was this conference was held. It was just weeks after the first Prime Minister of DRC, Patrice Lumumba, was assassinated. So it marked another sad chapter of history for Africa. How do we move forward? How do we promote our countries' economies? So we had to further cooperate with countries out of Africa, namely that Egypt was one of the founders of the non-aligned movement in 1955, and then to open more venues to cooperate with Asia and Latin America, Cuba, Indonesia, India, because we were all going through the same. So imagine a young leader, a young and dynamic leader like Dr. Sam Nujoma, witnessing all of this at first hand. He was among the youngest of this very fine first group of liberation leaders. So he was an excellent observer. He managed to always maintain the pride of Namibia. At that time it was not Namibia, but I will always refer to Namibia as Namibia,
Yes.
because it's in our hearts. So he had great exposure. He connected with all the young world leaders who were very sincere about having independence for their countries.
Well, as you alluded to, and I also, I think, mentioned it in my introduction, that in 1961, Dr. Sam Nujoma attended this third All-African People's Conference in Cairo, where he met President Nasser. So how did such interactions influence the relationship between Egypt and Namibia during the liberation era?
President Nasser was very keen to see those leaders of tomorrow who will fight for their cause, who are willing to fight no matter how long it takes, and no matter what it needs. And that's why it was very obvious that President Sam Nujoma will be one of those leaders. And then we started what is known as the African Association. The African Association is a building in Zamalek, very famous building, having 24 offices. Namibia had office number 19, which is on the third floor. So all the world leaders who then came back to their countries to lead the fight for independence were occupying these rooms. And of course, the founding president was no stranger. Maybe he was one of the ones who stayed much longer, because Namibia, it took much longer than others to get in the independence. But Dr. Sam Nujoma never minded the long way or the struggle, because he was sure of what he's doing. He had faith in what he's doing.
Well, beyond the 1961 conference, were there other significant engagements that you can speak to us today about, between Dr. Sam Nujoma and Egyptian leaders that further solidified the bond between the two nations?
Of course, but even then, I must talk of what Egypt has done for the African movement and for Namibia. We are honored to be the first country to provide Namibia with military training. And it was not only a military fight, it was a diplomatic fight. And that's why we provided Dr. Sam Nujoma and the other leaders of Namibia with Egyptian diplomatic passports, because they needed to travel abroad. At that time, some people made sure they don't have any documents so they can travel, but we made sure they have the passports. And they had the logistics, the capabilities. And we made sure we give them the diplomatic support in the UN, and later on, of course, in the OOU, the African Union of now. So Egypt was very keen to provide logistical assistance, financial assistance, because at that time, our principle was to share our wealth. That's how Africa used to think. And I hope we always share, we always solve our problems internally, and we can support one another.
Since Namibia became independent in 1990, talk to us about how our relationships have changed since then and evolved between Egypt and Namibia, specifically now our bilateral relationship.
Our bilateral relations are moving from strength to strength, because like we did in many other countries, we made sure once Namibia got its independence that our people and our experts are ready to come here to help and assist in all fields. So whether it was engineering, medicine, teachers of all sorts, agriculture, our teams were here to assist in every way. And maybe because we were also very privileged that in 1990, it was the Egyptian president at that time, Hosni Mubarak, that in his capacity as chairperson of the OOU, he was the one lowering the South African flag and raising the Namibian flag. So at first hand, he saw how great Namibia is and what Namibia needs. So since that time, many bilateral visits, many of our experts are here. And to expand even more, we send about 80 to 90 high calibers from each ministry or institution in Namibia yearly to Egypt for training in different fields. So I usually receive in the beginning of the year a list of programs and training that Namibia needs. I submit them to Egypt and we send them for different training. So whether it's in irrigation, agriculture, police training, VIP protection, military. So our relations did not stop at this. We even managed to bring here some experts in agriculture who are living among us. It's a gift to Namibia by the Egyptian government. They are everywhere in Namibia, contributing to better systems of irrigation and agriculture to assist in the food security, because it's of great importance. Of course, each year we bring a convoy of medical doctors. We have two magnificent Egyptian Orthodox churches. So with the cooperation and the help of the churches, we managed to bring world-class doctors. They are all Egyptians. They live in Egypt and abroad, and they perform critical surgeries. So this convoy, I'm sure you have heard of it, because usually it performs in Katatura General Hospital and Windhoek Central Hospital. And we hope to be more and more involved in assisting our brothers and sisters in Namibia.
Fantastic. Well, in your view, sir, how is Dr. Sam Nujoma's legacy perceived within the broader African Union context?
Again, Dr. Sam Nujoma had lots of time to mature due to the events happening in Africa and the real needs of Africa. So we recall he had, for instance, a very strong role in the Great Lakes struggle, mainly in DRC. And his legacy continues, because till now, Namibia has the same position in helping DRC, in helping other countries of Africa, and even far beyond. Look at Namibia being in the very west and south, and yet very concerned with the right of self-determination for Palestinians. Palestine is a neighbor of Egypt and is going through immense atrocities due to the attacks, due to Israel trying to forcibly dislocate people and move them, ethnic cleansing, and Namibia is not stopping. So the foundation of Namibia is very solid. No matter how people say that it's a small population or far-away country, but the foundation is right.
100%.
And that's why you expect Namibia always to be on the right side of history.
Well, as Namibians mourn, of course, the loss of their founding president, what message would you like to convey to them during this period of reflection?
During this period of reflection, I have a message from the heart. As an Egyptian, as an African, you have a beautiful country, you have a stable country, because your leaders managed to draft and consolidate a very strong constitution. This constitution helped Namibia during difficult times, like the passing away of last year of Dr. Hagi Geingob, and the smooth transition, and the role the current president, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, played to make sure everything is moving correctly and smoothly without any complications, like it happens in so many countries and neighboring countries. And that's why my message is that we should always appreciate our senior leaders. Try to mix the experience of the senior leaders who know the history with the young and dynamic youth. And in this regard, while we are in a very sad moment, yet I'm very happy that the president-elect, she will be in office to carry on the torch. A very fine lady, a very patriotic leader who loves her country. We were honored as ambassadors to know her excellency since the time she was the DPM for Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation. And in every meeting, you see in her eyes, in her vision, that she's always looking at a beautiful Namibia, how to move Namibia forward, how to make sure there is food security, how to make sure Namibia can stand on its own. So my message is to reflect on your solid constitution, on your stability, and to keep supporting your leaders for a better future.
We appreciate that so much, and thank you so much for your time this afternoon and speaking to us.
Thank you, Nina. It's a pleasure to be here.